Have you ever felt like you knew something was going to happen, and then it actually did? Maybe you just knew you'd ace that test, or perhaps you had a gut feeling that today was going to be a bad day, and it was. What if those feelings weren't just random? Imagine waking up in a bad mood, thinking today is going to be awful. You might then unconsciously look for things to confirm that belief: a spilled coffee, a grumpy colleague, and overlook any positive moments. By the end of the day, you conclude, see, I told you so. But did you actually predict the day, or did your prediction shape it? It appears that our initial state of mind and what we anticipate can significantly influence where we direct our attention and how we interpret the events that unfold. This creates a rapid loop where the original thought actively seeks out and finds evidence to support itself. For instance, starting the day with a negative outlook can lead to a bias where we are more likely to notice and remember negative experiences while filtering out positive ones. This selective focus then reinforces the initial negative feeling, making it seem as though the prediction was accurate all along. This is the fascinating world of the self-fulfilling prophecy, a powerful psychological phenomenon that can shape our reality in ways we often don't even realize. At its core, a self-fulfilling prophecy is a belief or expectation about the future that simply by being held makes that future outcome more likely to occur. Think of it as a prediction that comes true because we act as if it were already so. The initial belief might even be entirely false, but our subsequent actions, driven by that belief, are what ultimately bring it to fruition. The term self-fulfilling prophecy was coined by the American sociologist Robert K. Merton in 1948. However, the idea isn't entirely new. As sociologists William Isaac Thomas and Dorothy Swain Thomas put it much earlier, if men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. This highlights that our perception of reality, even if inaccurate, can have tangible effects. So, how does it actually work? It generally follows a pattern. First, we form an expectation about something. Second, this expectation influences our behavior. Third, our behavior then leads to the expected outcome, thus confirming our initial belief. This creates a cycle where our thoughts and actions are tightly intertwined with the resulting reality. Interestingly, self-fulfilling prophecies can manifest in different ways. We can broadly categorize them into two main types: self-imposed prophecies. These occur when our own beliefs about ourselves influence our behavior. For example, if you believe you're not good at public speaking, you might avoid opportunities to present, and when you do have to speak, your anxiety might cause you to stumble, reinforcing your initial belief. Other imposed prophecies, sometimes called the Pygmalion effect. These happen when others' expectations influence our behavior. A classic example is a teacher who believes certain students are more capable. They might then give those students more attention and encouragement, leading to those students actually performing better. To really understand the power of self-fulfilling prophecies, let's look at some compelling examples. One classic illustration is the phenomenon of a bank run during the Great Depression. Imagine a time when rumors started circulating that a particular bank was on the verge of collapse. Even if these rumors were initially false, they instilled fear in the depositors. This fear then motivated a large number of people to rush to the bank to withdraw their funds. Because banks operate on a fractional reserve system, meaning they don't keep all their assets as liquid cash, a sudden surge of withdrawals could easily deplete their reserves. As more people withdrew their money, the likelihood of the bank actually running out of funds and becoming insolvent increased, thus fulfilling the initial, albeit false, prophecy of its collapse. This example clearly demonstrates how a collective belief, even without factual basis, can trigger a chain of events with significant real-world economic consequences. Another powerful example comes from the field of education and is known as the Pygmalion effect, famously demonstrated in a 1968 study by Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson. Researchers administered an IQ test to elementary school students, but then randomly selected a group of children and told their teachers that these students were intellectual bloomers who were expected to show significant academic growth throughout the year. Unbeknownst to the teachers, these students were chosen purely at random. What happened next was remarkable. At the end of the school year, the bloomers showed significantly greater improvement in their IQ scores compared to their peers in the control group. The only plausible explanation for this was that the teachers, believing in the potential of these students, treated them differently. They likely provided more attention, encouragement, and challenging material, fostering a more positive learning environment. This differential treatment boosted the students' confidence and motivation, ultimately leading to their improved academic performance. This study highlights the profound influence that external expectations, especially from authority figures like teachers, can have on an individual's potential and achievement. Finally, let's consider a more personal and relatable scenario. Imagine someone who has a job interview coming up. If this person anticipates failing the interview, they might subconsciously act in ways that sabotage their chances. They might procrastinate on preparing, not research the company thoroughly, or even go into the interview with a negative attitude and low energy. Their lack of preparation and pessimistic demeanor could then lead to a poor interview performance, ultimately confirming their initial belief that they would fail. Conversely, someone who believes they will make new friends after moving to a new city is more likely to approach social situations with confidence and openness. This positive behavior can then lead to them forming meaningful connections, thus fulfilling their initial positive expectation. These personal stories illustrate how the self-fulfilling prophecy operates in our daily lives, shaping our experiences based on our initial thoughts and actions. So, what's the psychological basis for this phenomenon? Several key theories help explain why self-fulfilling prophecies are so powerful. One crucial aspect is that expectations influence behavior. When we anticipate a certain outcome, we often act in ways, even unintentionally, that make that outcome more likely. Our expectations can act as a subtle guide, shaping our actions and interactions in ways that align with what we believe will happen. For example, if someone expects a social gathering to be awkward, they might subconsciously adopt a closed-off posture and avoid engaging in conversations, which in turn can create the very awkwardness they were anticipating. Furthermore, confirmation bias plays a significant role. Once we hold a belief, we tend to seek out and interpret information that supports our existing viewpoint while overlooking or dismissing contradictory evidence. If we believe we are not good at a particular task, we might focus on any mistakes we make as proof of our inadequacy and disregard any successes, thus reinforcing our initial negative belief. The power of belief itself also contributes to this phenomenon. Our beliefs can directly impact our motivation, the amount of effort we put in, and our persistence in the face of challenges. If we genuinely believe we can achieve something, we are more likely to invest the necessary time and energy to make it happen. From a neurological perspective, our brain functions as a predictive machine. It constantly builds mental models, or schemas, of the world and uses these models to anticipate future events. When we hold a strong expectation, our brain prepares us, both mentally and sometimes even physically, for that predicted outcome. Positive expectations can even trigger the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with reward and pleasure, which can increase our motivation and focus. Moreover, there's an intricate interplay between our expectations and the sensory information we receive, shaping our perception of reality to align with what we anticipate. This suggests that the self-fulfilling prophecy has a deep-rooted biological basis in how our brains process information and guide our actions. The good news is that understanding the self-fulfilling prophecy empowers us to harness its power for positive change in various areas of our lives. When it comes to improving self-confidence, it's crucial to recognize how negative self-talk and low self-esteem can fuel negative self-fulfilling prophecies. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, you might avoid challenges and give up easily, reinforcing those negative beliefs. However, you can break this cycle by consciously challenging negative thoughts and replacing them with positive affirmations. Focusing on your strengths and practicing positive self-talk can build your self-confidence and create a positive expectation of success, leading to more confident actions and better outcomes. In the realm of career success, expectations play a significant role, often seen through the lens of the Pygmalion effect in management. Leaders who have high expectations for their team members often see those expectations reflected in their team's performance. Cultivating a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, is essential. By setting ambitious yet realistic goals and truly believing in your capacity to achieve them, you can drive yourself to put in the necessary effort and overcome obstacles. There are numerous examples of positive self-fulfilling prophecies in careers, such as believing in the success of a project, leading to increased dedication and ultimately a better result. The self-fulfilling prophecy also profoundly impacts our relationships. If you enter relationships expecting rejection or distrust, your behavior might become guarded or suspicious, inadvertently pushing people away. Building strong relationships relies on trust and positive assumptions. Openly and positively communicating your needs and expectations can foster a more supportive dynamic. You can actively cultivate positive self-fulfilling prophecies in your relationships by expecting your partner to be supportive and understanding, which can lead to more open communication and a stronger emotional bond. So, as we've explored, a self-fulfilling prophecy is a powerful phenomenon where our beliefs and expectations shape our reality. The expectations we hold, whether about ourselves, our careers, or our relationships, have a remarkable ability to influence our actions and ultimately the outcomes we experience. But the truly empowering aspect of this understanding is that this power can be harnessed for positive change. What expectations are you currently holding about yourself? About your career aspirations? About your relationships with others? Are these expectations serving you well, or could they be inadvertently holding you back from reaching your full potential? We encourage you to take some time this week for self-reflection. Consider journaling about your beliefs and how they might be influencing your actions and the results you're seeing. By becoming more aware of the self-fulfilling prophecies at play in your life, you can begin the process of shifting negative expectations into positive ones and actively start creating the reality you truly desire. Share your thoughts and experiences with self-fulfilling prophecies in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the fascinating world of psychology. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. You might also find our video on helpful in understanding more about how our minds shape our lives.